career evaluation today. IT Pro in as little as 4 months. It's not rocket science. It's my computer career.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Sounds like we've got a search for a missing juvenile in the Falkville area in Morgan County. They've called the rescue squad out there. That's on Wilhite Road. Had water over the roadway on Hayes Mill. They've gotten the water turned off. That's in Limestone County. Still got some southbound problems in that area. The YMCA is different from other gyms with state-of-the-art equipment, world-class pools, programs for every age, and free child care, and you pay no joining fee in Madison and Huntsville. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And with that, we kick off another week of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Hope everyone had a good extended weekend. If you did, hope you were able to enjoy it. We are back live on a Tuesday morning, and we have got a ton of stuff to get to. Without having a show yesterday, we need to do our good, the bad, the ugly from an extended college football weekend. I should say an extended college football week that started on Wednesday, went all the way through Monday evening. We got plenty to dissect there. We also got to crown this week's 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week because we did not do a show yesterday, so we got to do that for you today. 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. We want to hear from you on this Tuesday as we get our day started. Your good, the bad, the ugly from over the weekend is pretty obvious. Obviously, your good is the way Alabama played in their opener, the way Auburn played in their opener. You look around the rest of college football, Drew, and Georgia, the way their defense played against Clemson is good. Plenty of bad and plenty of ugly to go along the way.
Oh, there's plenty of ugly. If you're dressed in purple and gold.
Whoo!
They humiliated the league.
That would be LSU.
And just absolutely got their ass whipped. I mean, and their head coach is stupid enough to tell that UCLA fan to take off their sissy blue shirt. And then they go out there and they don't get beat, they get mauled. You understand? Mauled. Right. That's what happened. They got mauled at the line of scrimmage, got physically whipped because they're the worst four-letter word you can be when you're a football team. S-O-F-T. They're soft as Charmin because they've been worrying too much about trying to be Joe Brady and throw the ball 45 times a game, and they have not worked on being physical at the line of scrimmage. Their offensive line is garbage, and right now they're the biggest disappointment in America. I mean, good grief. I mean, he's now officially on the clock, and I'm talking about Ed Orgeron. That was an abomination of an effort.
We talked about who needed that game the most all offseason. We talked about it at SEC Media Days. And
what did Jordy Orgeron say? What did he say?
Yep.
He said, he and Matt Moscona, he said, look, if there's somebody in this league that can end up on the hot seat, it's Ed Orgeron. And that's exactly what happened. It was absolutely asinine, how they played. I mean,
the narrative now is Chip Kelly has turned around UCLA after 2 wins. So,
LSU better hope so. They better hope they're winning the Pac-12, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because if they end up being a 7-5 football team or 8-4, then you know how bad LSU is. And can we please stop the narrative that Derek Stingley is a great player? Can we? He's not even the best corner on his own team. That's Elijah Ricks. Okay? That is a fact. What did Stingley do Saturday? Did he do anything? I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. I'm tired of hearing it. They act like he's the greatest corner that ever played. He's living off 1 year. He wasn't any good last year. He stunk the first week. So he better get his head out of his rectum because he doesn't look very good.
The rest of the SEC looked okay except for Vanderbilt, who dropped a home opener in Clark Lee's opener to East Tennessee State, 23-3 in that one. I guess you could say ugly there for Vanderbilt. Bad. Where do we put the ACC over the weekend? Do we put them in bad or ugly? Because they took some really bad losses. Georgia Tech lost to an FC.
Ugly. It was pathetic. I mean, but I will say this, that we didn't even mention it, and we have to, because we mentioned LSU. The other ugly for the SEC was Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I just mentioned.
Are you kidding me?
East Tennessee State, 23-3.
I mean, that was. Look, I understand Vandy's not very good, and now I feel even worse because I said all offseason that you could put Vandy, South Carolina, and Tennessee in a group and just shake them up. No, you can't. Vandy's in a class by themselves. They don't even count. They're going 0-12. Okay, 0-12. They're not winning a game. I feel bad for Clark Lee, but I just really don't think they're going to win a game. I mean, when you let an FCS school come in there and dominate you,
right?
And this East Tennessee team, I'm not even sure how good they are. I mean, good Lord, the only
good news is Vanderbilt led 3-0 after the first quarter.
Well, yeah, I guess
after that it was
all downhill.
Yes.
And so, but I would say the ACC was ugly as well. When you got Northern Illinois winning at Georgia Tech, that's pathetic. You got Louisville just getting mud stomped by Ole Miss. That's pathetic. When you got Clemson that can't even score an offensive touchdown with DJ Uiagalelei, who I was wrong about, that's pathetic.
He looked like a deer in headlights a lot of the night.
Here's the problem. Okay, here's the problem. I watched this guy in high school, and I thought the same thing. And yet, when he played last year with a different supporting cast, and of course he did have a great tailback then. Right. I'm not sure Clemson does right now. But anyway, I thought when he played against Bryce Young, they split 2 games. And DJU and St. John Bosco were really lucky to win the second one. But they did because Mater Dei made just enough mistakes. And Mater Dei had a big lead and blew the lead. But I thought he didn't have anything but a fastball. And that's what it looked like against Georgia as well. He doesn't have enough in his repertoire. Doesn't have enough throws. Now, he's 6'5", 260, 250, 4.6 40, throw it 80 yards. He's out of central casting. But it's the neck up stuff because he's staring right at guys. And then it's having the touch, the different throws, being able to maneuver in the pocket, zip it in there, but then also show some touch on a screen or some touch on a deep ball. I thought Bryce was a better quarterback because I thought he had all of those. Now, Bryce is not out of central casting. He's barely 6 feet tall, if that. But he is mobile, just like DJU, but he's a different kind of mobile. As we saw against Miami, he's slippery, he gets away from guys, and he keeps his head up to throw. I just thought Bryce was more cerebral and was the better quarterback. If you watch the Alabama-Miami game, they kept talking about how he kept setting the protections. And this is the first start he's ever made, but he was already so smart and so well-versed in the offense. He looked better than DJ Uiagalelei. Of course, we understand they were playing against a very high-level opponent, but I'm just saying Alabama played against a ranked opponent as well. But
there were times that DJU on Saturday did not. I mean, he looked better last year in those 2 games than what he did against Georgia. Now, Georgia's defense is great.
Yes.
Clemson's offensive line, not so great.
And that was
right
the thing we were warned about now.
Yes.
Even by Will Vanderbilt, who said they were going to rotate centers. Obviously, Clemson's O-line is still got some questions.
Yes.
All right. And so, but the one thing that they're saving grace is their league is an abomination.
Well, that may not save them too
now
much.
Now they're just all the clowns.
Because if they don't get a top 25 win, if they don't have another top 25 win, that being Clemson, it's foreseeable that Clemson could not make the playoffs.
And remember what Will Vanderbilt said to us. He said it was important for Clemson, in his mind, more important, because of the weakness of the league.
Yes.
And then it's even worse because of the first weekend.
Yes.
People are not very good. At least
Florida State could have pulled off the upset,
but
over
I will
Notre
say that
Dame.
was encouraging, though. That was encouraging.
No, it was.
Florida State looked a lot better, except I will say this, and it was the best story of the weekend seeing Mackenzie Milton. But why the hell wasn't he in there earlier?
And why do you go for it on 4th down in the third quarter when it's such a close ball game like that? I
know,
understand, but that call there will be
I'm
talked about.
surprised they did not put Milton in earlier to try to throw the ball.
Right.
Okay? Jamar Travis, great athlete. This guy can run. I was tipped off by our great friend Jackson West, freshman tight end at Florida State, that Travis would be the starting quarterback months ago. But I'm telling you, after watching Mackenzie Milton, he can complete forward passes. That's very important when you're trying to be a good football team.
Really?
Okay? Now, I know he's kind of like Bryce. He's small, he's short, and he has to maneuver and things of that nature. But it's very important to be able to complete a forward pass and not throw screens 10 yards over people's heads. Do we understand that, people? So I'm hoping now that Mackenzie Milton will be the starter going forward. Because if he is, Florida State's got a chance to be a good team. And I'm telling you, Miami needs to bounce back. That's what Clemson's got to pray, man. They've got to pray because North Carolina laid a turd.
There's the other one in the ACC.
Now you got to hope Virginia Tech's much improved too, though. That was within the conference.
That's true.
But I'm just saying, it was not a great beginning for the ACC. It was terrible. And you got to give the Pac-12 a lot of credit. Now I've ripped them, okay. I've been
with the exception of Washington.
That was terrible. And I'm just saying, that was their one awful moment.
Yes.
But other than that, it was pretty good.
I'll agree.
Because Oregon survived against a pretty good Fresno State team, okay?
Well, Spencer Rattler did not. I mean, Oklahoma got off to a slow start. I mean,
where's that? Okay, now Brandon, he hooked us up with that. He was sending us highlights, on the way to Atlanta. Are you kidding me? I mean, tackling is still optional by OU. That was not good against Tulane. We don't even know how good Willie Fritz's team is. Probably a bowl team.
Right.
But come on. They had the ball with a chance to win in Norman, Oklahoma against the team everybody's picking to win the national championship.
And everybody said was the Heisman favorite. Now, you're not going to lose the Heisman in week one. I mean, if you do a Matt Corral last year, 5 interceptions, you're going to put your name out of it. Spencer Rattler didn't put his name out of the Heisman, but he didn't put himself in that category, that rare air category that everybody was putting him in the preseason.
No, I mean, I didn't.
I mean, of all the people that they mentioned, of everybody that they mentioned, okay, this guy's a Heisman favorite, this guy's a Heisman favorite in Vegas, and they're putting all the money down. Only one player, I think, played beyond that and lived up to that, and that is Bryce Young at Alabama.
And he played even better than I thought he would, okay? But first of all, Rattler was 30 of 39 for 300 yards, but he threw 2 picks.
Should have had 3.
Yeah.
The referees bailed him out on the third one.
Right, so he's still turning the ball over.
Right.
Bryce had 1 turnover on a fumble. But other than that, I thought he ran the offense superbly. I mean, he was even better than I was hoping he would be in that regard because you try to be conservative in a kid's first start.
Right.
But he was totally, I thought in control, poised. He took some hits, but I think that's good, though. Everybody's like, oh, you got to protect. And you do, but you also got to be able to get lathered up and learn to take a hit because you're not going to go the entire season without getting you taking some shots.
Thoughts on the offensive line? That was a big conversation going into the Alabama-Miami game. Thoughts on the Alabama offensive line and how they ended up playing?
I thought pretty well. Of course, Miami got some pressure on Bryce a little bit here, and they gave up some pressures. But I thought when you see the players of the week and you see Darian Dalcourt get one of the players of the week, and of course he was the center. It was the first time he's ever started. I thought that was significant. And then Chris Owens was pretty good at right tackle. He rotated with J.C. Latham. But I've already been asked this question on the BAMS radio podcast, and everybody can check that out. And I was asked on another radio show yesterday, and I'm going to say it here. I think when you look at Darian Dalcourt being named Player of the Week, and then you look at Chris Owens, and then we saw some of the film yesterday too. Alabama practiced, and the little bit they sent you, they showed some of the O-line. going forward, I think even though Kendall's getting healthy now, you're going to see Kendall back in his old role as he's going to be 85. He's going to be a tight end, and you're going to see Chris Owens at right tackle with his experience, especially considering that they've got to go to Florida a week from Saturday for their SEC opener on the road in the Swamp. And then you're going to see Dalcourt at center. I think there was maybe one low snap that Dalcourt had, but other than that, I think it was pretty good. And again, him being player of the week means they really thought he played well. He graded almost flawlessly with his assignments. So to me, that's what you're going to see going forward with this offensive line, because Chris Owens is a senior. They trust him at right tackle. He played a little bit of it last year in the place of Evan Neal. And they have a young player in J.C. Latham that they can rotate and develop. And then Darian Dalcourt is a guy that since they signed him from St. Francis, he's been being groomed to be the center. He wasn't ready last year, but I think he's ready now. And then Randolph is so versatile that he can play that blocking tight end. And they helped out the right tackle quite a bit with Kendall in there, especially in the running game, because he's a road grader, especially in the red zone. So I think that's what Alabama's going to stay with.
Defensively, we learned Will Anderson is a beast.
Oh, he's
Chris Allen, though, your heart goes out to him.
Yeah, because on his biggest play of the game, which was the strip sack and Fedarian Mathis picked it up, scooped the fumble up. He got landed on by an offensive lineman at Miami, and he suffered what has now been officially diagnosed. I mean, I had it here at 97.7. I'm going to blow our horn here. We had it first, that it was a broken foot, but it's a Liz Franck injury, and he's going to have surgery. We put it out in the third quarter that it was most likely a broken foot, and he would be potentially out for the season. It's now official. It's a Liz Franck. It was about as serious as you can get. And you really feel for that young man because he's already had to come back from an ACL, and he'd become such a good player. Pretty much a well-rounded outside backer at the Sam spot. But he will be out for the year. Drew Sanders will be in his place. But Sanders played really well, third on the team with 6 tackles in the game. Probably not the pass rusher that Chris is, but he's really good against the run. And now they're going to develop guys like Chris Braswell and Dallas Turner as pass rushers. But the one thing we said all offseason, Scott, what was the deepest position on the team? Outside linebacker.
Yeah.
And so I think Alabama's got plenty of depth, but you hate to lose a guy like that who was going to be a top 3-round pick, in my opinion. A really solid guy who knew the defense inside and out. Hopefully he'll come back next year because he'll have that COVID year because, again, I don't know how high he'll go in the draft not having any film now. But you really feel for him, though. But luckily Alabama has recruited so well there that they should be able to withstand it. Much like they did with Jalen Waddle last year when Slade Bolden stepped up. But I'll be honest, this outside linebacker group is even more talented than the wide receiver room was a year ago. So this is at least now Alabama can't continue to get guys hurt.
Right.
Let's don't misunderstand that.
You take one hit,
I think they can steady themselves. Yes.
Will Anderson. Oh my goodness.
I mean, 9 tackles, a sack. I mean, he was a beast. He was unbelievable. He got one of the players of the week as he should. I mean, I think he's the best pass rusher in America. I mean, I've been hearing about this guy from Oklahoma. I guess he was chasing Tulane people all over the field. They couldn't stop anybody. I didn't check his stats, but I'm just saying that I think that this dude, Will Anderson, is on another level. And he's certainly a great player.
All right, one of the other goods from the weekend has to be the fact that Kentucky has found an offense.
Oh, it was good. A rocky beginning, but they certainly turned it around quickly.
Yeah, Jeff from the Borough now joining
Wandell
us
Robinson
on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good morning, Jeff.
How you doing, guys?
Doing
What's
good.
up, Jeff?
I hope you had a good long weekend.
Yes, sir.
Enjoyed it.
So we didn't throw it enough for you, huh? Didn't throw it enough. Didn't throw enough, huh? Didn't throw enough, right? Didn't throw the ball enough.
Well, no, we just said it was a good weekend. Kentucky found an offense. They looked like they were a great rhythm. I don't know much more you can say.
We had an offense before. We just lined it up, run down people's throats. We had an offense forward. Everybody that we were going to do was stadium, and they still couldn't stop us.
Well, there was a lot of people that stopped that Kentucky offense, though, in the past.
2 years ago, we had a guy, Lynn Bowden, I think he played 6 or 7 games at quarterback, won the rushing title.
You lost 5 games,
Yeah, I was
Jeff.
about to
We're
say,
just trying to
yeah.
say about being a contender. You were
Yeah.
still a good team. You won a
Teams-
bowl game.
yes.
But, yes, the passing game looks much improved against Louisiana Monroe. We'll see going forward, but I like what I saw and what I heard. It was really good for the first game. And, I mean, Levis looked really good. Wandale Robinson looked great. You still got the rushing yards from Rodriguez. It's exactly what Mark Stoops wants. And right now, I mean, it looks good.
No doubt about that. Wandale Robinson, he's probably glad he's out of Nebraska. He's probably glad he's out of there.
Probably.
I don't know that they played Fordham, though. I guess Vince Lombardi should come out of the ground and play for Fordham. I guess that could help them Saturday. Box for granted. That could help them, I reckon. But how about them fighting the light eye? How about Conference USA, gentlemen? Drew, are you a Duke football fan? How about them Charlotte 49ers?
Oh, yeah. How about
we left off
Illinois?
Duke. I'm glad you brought that up because the ACC had a terrible first
I
weekend.
don't know. I know you're not a Duke football fan, but I know you love Duke basketball, though. And how about them UTSA, Texas San Antonio, beating Illinois, and Louisiana Tech should have beat Mississippi State, but
Yeah, Brett Bielema laid an egg in game 2 for Illinois. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
37-30 UTSA win.
They kind of let their defense let them down. They should have beat Mississippi State, but they got by. But that kind of thing. But Conference USA a pretty good week. I watched my alma mater Saturday night play Saturday night. They played pretty good. They've got a kid Lane. It was a freshman. It's his first college game. He returned the punt and 70 yards, had a touchdown catch. Hockman looked pretty good at quarterback. He played a quarterback through 3 touchdowns. So they got Virginia Tech this week. They got to go to Blacksburg. So we'll see how good that they are this weekend when they play Virginia Tech. But Dow Conference USA had a pretty good little weekend. They're just a small conference trying to get better. They're not the SEC, but we're a small conference trying to get better. But what happened to LSU, gentlemen? I thought
They embarrassed the league is what happened.
I thought they did. Well, UCLA must be pretty good, babe. I believe Chip Kelly is.
Hey, we hope so. We better hope so.
Pretty good, babe. 2-0, I believe, is the record. So I believe they're doing pretty well, I believe. And I think Vanderbilt doesn't need to pay any more FCS schools. They've already paid East Tennessee State over $800,000 to play 2 ball games, and they also paid for 60 hotel rooms each time they come to town. So I believe that's 120 hotel rooms they paid for. So of course, it's going to be a long year for Vanderbilt. It's like Guy said. Guy said recruits know what they're getting into year one. They know that it's going to be a process for them to build. But no, I guess we found the offense. I guess we'll find out Saturday night how good we are when we play Missouri and Drankwitz. I know Moulton is chomping at the bit to see Missouri beat us, but I didn't see the line.
I'm picking Kentucky. I picked them in the summer.
Kentucky's a 5-point favorite, but I know who Moulton's rooting for. He loves that Drankwitz, so I know he can't wait to see Drankwitz beat Stoops and Lexington. But we have to find out. But Missouri just barely gets by Central Michigan, so we'll see what they can do Saturday against Kentucky. But you guys hang in there. Have a good week. See y'all.
Thank you.
No, well, yeah. I mean, whatever. I mean, yes, Illinois did look bad.
I will say, well, the one thing with the ACC, at least NC State looked good. They beat a terrible USF team.
Yes.
But, I mean,
there you go.
But Mississippi State better brace themselves because they're coming to Starkville.
Mike Leach's comments, though, after that game were the best.
Are we going to play some of that?
We're going to try to find that because, I mean, it was epic. I mean, it was epic.
Well, I will say this. My app, whatever was going on with ESPN, I'm sitting there in Atlanta, and it's 31-14 stuck with Mississippi. They didn't update the game. And they're winding down the fourth quarter, and I'm thinking they're losing 31-14 at home.
I was watching that game. Yeah. I was watching that.
And then finally Moulton tells me, by the way, they came back and won 35-34.
It was crazy. They
were getting stomped.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was remarkable to see.
I thought they were still throwing a parade for the baseball team. I'm like, what is going on?
Oh, we need to throw a parade for Aaron Suttles because he's going to join us next on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline.
He's going to join us 8:01 now.
Oh, 8:01. Okay,
yeah,
my bad. I did not look at the time.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get our first break in. When we come back, we're going to continue this great
find
talk.
Mike Leach.
Yeah, oh boy. His team quit, but then they came back alive, and the reason why, Mike Leach can explain. All that and more when we return.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN.
Limestone County, maybe some southbound problems there. We got Danville and Westmead blocked in Decatur.
From the WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Tuesday, expect mostly sunshine. High temperatures will be topping out in the upper 80s for the afternoon. From the WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Tuesday, expect mostly sunshine. High temperatures will be topping out in the upper 80s for the afternoon. Some of us could see a few isolated showers move through as well. For your Tuesday night, expect patchy fog to develop, a partly cloudy sky. Low temperatures will fall into the upper 60s. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Before they're gone.
Football season is here.
Got a touchdown on a slant play. Rayleigh Cooper a catch. Oh my!
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up at noon today. Now, back to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back to Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone, 256-576-4977. Doing some of the good, the bad, the ugly from a busy week of college football. And one thing we did not get to mention that would be ugly would be the fact that your own school misspells your name on your jersey. And I don't know if you saw this over the weekend, but the Indiana Hoosiers traveled to Iowa to take on the Hawkeyes, and they misspelled Indiana on the front of their players' jerseys.
Well, that was an omen for what was about to come because they got absolutely mauled by your Hawkeyes, Scott.
They did, but so.
And then your alma mater almost beat Iowa State when we were talking about that.
Yes, they did. They did. Northern Iowa tried to give Iowa State a scare.
They gave
but
a scare.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking a one-score game here.
So they came away. So Indiana the other day on the jersey spelled it Indinia is how they spelled it. And if you have not seen the Indiana jersey, Indiana is labeled across the chest. They misspelled it. So that would be the ugly. The other one, we mentioned Mississippi State having to get the come-from-behind victory against Louisiana Tech. They dug themselves a big hole. Mississippi State would go up 14-0, would find themselves down 31-14 before rallying to get the win. Here is Mike Leach after the game on the SEC Network as to why his team decided to flip the switch and come back.
Well, Coach, congratulations. You just pulled the biggest comeback in school history, down by 20 in the fourth quarter. What sparked the turnaround?
Well, I didn't know it was the biggest comeback, so I'm glad we had it. But that's, I guess, about the best thing I can say about it. I think the biggest thing that sparked the turnaround, they all say people make changes when they hit rock bottom, and I thought our group hit rock bottom. Because a few series prior to that, on offense and defense both, we tried to quit, and then decided we had nothing left, so we were going to go ahead and battle through it for a quarter. Then you never know what's going to happen. Funny things happen in sports, and of course the Red Sox coined the phrase "Why not us?" So in this case, I mean, nobody had a dental appointment, a study hall, so we decided we finally, after 3 quarters, decided we were finally going to just play football, do our job, but do the best we could. And, it's kind of explosive on all sides of the ball when you do that. I have to credit offense, defense, special teams. All 3 sides contributed to that win. We also got exposed to how bad we can play. So, anyway, I think bottom line in particular, start with me. We have to coach better. We can't have these spots where, we think about giving in, and I thought there was too much of that. But I'm really proud of these guys sticking in there. I mean, we had a great offseason, had a great camp, but all that's in the past. So, we need to try to make 4 quarters look a little bit like that fourth quarter did.
All right, Mississippi State head coach Mike Leach.
The one and only.
We didn't have study hall or dental appointments.
So we decided not to quit. Oh, boy.
Let's get out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline on a Tuesday. Brandon's with us. Good morning, Brandon.
What's up?
What's up? Well, y'all are talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's talk about the good. If you want to know how good of a player you have on your football team, all you have to do is listen for the explicative-laden tirade of a fan of the other team behind you every time your middle linebacker crushes the quarterback, and it sounds like that barbershop scene from Coming to America.
That was classic. I know exactly what you're referring to, Brandon.
We had a guy behind us, and every time Toa made a hit, it was just blip, 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 blip. You can't even say what he was saying. He was so mad. He was like, God, he's fast. Man, he's fast.
Well, we could on Sirius XM, but not here.
The good laugh of the day was seeing Chris Anderson 4 rows in front of us wearing his own jersey. I told Derek Lassick about that, and he busted out laughing. I mean, I guess if you're going to go to a game, wear your own jersey. I would. So
proudly. There you go.
I mean, literally.
And I don't know the bad. Well, I guess I'll go to the ugly. I don't know where to put the bad is Sissy Blue or the officiating from last night. The ugly.
Yes.
Both of those are they're almost interchangeable to where you could make either one fit either. I don't know, but I know we got to come up with something different.
The targeting rule has to go.
Well, look, here's what I got to say. You can't duck your head and use the helmet as a weapon.
Yeah.
And that was what was being done. But what you got to do here, and I've been saying this and saying this and saying this, I don't think you should be ejected right away.
No.
I think you should get a 15-yard penalty, and then if you get a second targeting, then you're ejected. I totally disagree with what happened in one time and you being ejected. They've got to tweak the rule in that way. Because they're wanting player safety here. You've got to tackle with your head up, okay? Because if you don't, they're going to go back to doing it. So I understand what they're doing. And for the most part, I thought those were good calls last night, but you can't kick them out right away. I still say it's got to take 2 in a game before you're ejected by the same dude.
Well, yeah, because if you can taunt, you can taunt a player, you can do
and
whatever.
Get called for that without
get called
ejected.
A 15-yard penalty, and that's a warning number 1.
Right.
But you target, and you're automatically gone.
It should be the same concept.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, should we make it a 3-step and make it progressive from game to game? Okay, in this first one you done it, you got a 15-yard penalty.
Or you're saying if you get 3 targetings in one season, you're suspended. Is that what you're saying?
Suspended for a whole game. The second time, you're either out for a half or you're out for a quarter. So I'd say half the game. So if it happens in the middle of the first quarter, you can come back in the middle of the third. You get a third one, you're out for a game. You get a fourth one, you're out for multiple games. Make it progressive enough to where you can go out there and screw up once or twice, and it doesn't kill your whole team.
Yeah, that's true.
I agree. That's all. That's another good. That would be another good, I think, plan to have, or I think way to handle it procedurally.
Because that's how they do it with flagrant twos in the NBA, correct? Isn't it cumulative?
Yeah, right. You have to get cumulative flagrant fouls before you're suspended.
Okay, that's what I was looking at there. And why did we not have more of a camera on Lane Kiffin last night? Were they worried about
he was not there
with him?
Well, no, he was. You're talking about it at the complex at Ole Miss because that's where he was at.
Yeah, I was wondering if they were going to have like a live stream cam where people could watch and comment. I felt like that would have been a great sideshow if Lane could have been interactive during it.
What, see how many women log on?
I said that last night. I was watching that game last night, and without Lane Kiffin on the sidelines, Ole Miss is just Ole Miss. With Lane Kiffin on the sidelines, I think it's must-see TV.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I think he is absolutely he's the spike in the punch.
Yes.
He makes everything go crazy. He makes everything go wild, and that's what we need. That's why I like Leach and I like him at spicing up the SEC. It gives you that other side that Saban doesn't give you of the antics on the scene. But how about him smiling and having a good time with the leather helmet? For all the crap people give him, he is very friendly to his players. He does have a personality. He just doesn't let people that are not inside the program see it.
Are you talking about Saban?
Yes, he is a very good man. He's a very happy, funny guy. Tells a lot of jokes from what I hear. He just doesn't let the media see it.
Right. I mean, trust me. If Saban were as big an a-hole as the media likes you to believe, then he would not. Then players would be leaving in droves. He treats the players extremely well. It's kind of like what Smitty said before the game when he said, "I got Alabama by 30," and they're like, "Well, what makes Nick Saban so special?" He goes, "Well, if you listen to what he says, he's going to get you where you need to go." So.
Exactly, and that was what made the Jahlil Billingsley talk on the sideline.
Yeah, they're getting Jahlil back in it. They're just slowly but surely. He will be back in the lineup if he listens. And it looked like he was listening, but you got to love Cameron Latu. He continued what we saw in the spring, and it translated to the first game.
Oh, and I saw a post earlier where somebody tweeted at GoDaddy.com to see what FireEdOrgeron.com would cost. I want to know, are they taking bids for it, or has it already been taken?
Well, that seat now is getting a little toasty for
Brandon,
Ed
when you got
Orgeron.
time today, man, and I know you travel a lot, you need to pull it up on YouTube and type in Matt Moscona live from the Rose Bowl after the game.
Oh, I would. And I'll tell you, if I was Jeff from the Borough, I would be making parody videos or audio clips of Ed Orgeron, kind of like the SEC Shorts videos, only they would only be audio. I would be making those and trying to get them on this show. I would be putting those out there, making all kinds of spoofs and comments.
Yeah.
Because he could almost pull it off.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right,
thanks for the call, Brandon. Good to see you.
All right, let's get one more in here real fast. Richard is with us this morning. Good morning, Richard.
I was going to say, Drew, did you see who scored for Vanderbilt?
Yeah, Joseph Boulevas.
Yeah, I had to take an Alabama guy to actually for all of their 3 points there.
Oh, boy. But I'm sure he realized real quick he wasn't at Alabama anymore.
He wasn't going to have to kick the rest of the game.
Oh, no.
No extra points or anything there. You don't have to worry about wearing your leg out. So, one thing on LSU, I came back from the game and you listened to their radio broadcast, the third and fourth quarter, but they called a spade a spade. I mean, they weren't, their announcers weren't sugarcoating it all. As UCLA just ran off, 7, 8, 9, 10-yard runs one after another. They weren't, like I said, they weren't hiding it or just going, it was a fluke at all. I mean, they were calling a spade in the third and fourth quarter. So,
well, the problems that existed for LSU last year were mainly, defensive issues last year. Bo Pelini was not a great fit. Everything, and Ed Orgeron admitted, next time I'm going to, interview people. So he went through and said all the right things, put the pieces in there that he thought were going to fix it. The problem is the same problems that haunted LSU defensively reared their head again Saturday in the loss to the Rose Bowl.
Look at this. Look at it like this. UCLA won the game.
Yes.
38-27, right? 38-27. I want to make sure I had the score right because, and Dorian Thomas-Robinson didn't even throw 20 passes. He was 9 of 16.
I think it may have been under 10 even.
No, it was not. I'm looking at the box score. I wanted because I had been following it during the game. Yeah, Dorian Thompson-Robinson only attempted 16 passes, completed 9, didn't even complete 10 passes, still threw for 260 yards and 3 touchdowns, and they had a 100-yard receiver, as Greg Dulcich had 4 receptions for 132 and a touchdown. 3 in this game. That's his season stats. I'm sorry. 3 for 117 and a touchdown against UCLA, or against LSU, pardon me. And so they had a 100-yard receiver, and then they rushed for 210, and Charbonnet, great back. He's 11 for 117, a touchdown. But they nearly had 200-yard rushers as Britton Brown, their other tailback, had 96 and a touchdown. So that's just unbelievable. I was shocked. I thought LSU would win the game. I'm not surprised that UCLA's better. I wouldn't even have been surprised if UCLA gave them a 4-quarter fight. I just could not believe that they manhandled LSU the way they did. And now they've made a sissy blue Jordan T-shirt. I don't blame them. I'd sell the hell out of them.
Ed after winning the thing kind of got the big head.
Oh, I think so. No question about it. He thought he'd figured it out. Well, F. You hadn't figured anything out. You're Gene Chizik the second.
Were you surprised Bama ran as much 2 tight end on Saturday? Or?
No, Richard, I expected that. I expected them to run 2 tight ends with this offense. It's a different offense. It's a short, controlled passing game. They almost throw to set up the run, and they do a lot of long handoff type stuff to the wide receivers, the quick game, which I think was really effective against Miami, and they were dropping 8 anyway. But I think Alabama did a good job. They weren't blocking as well on the perimeter early, but they picked it up. And then I thought once they got the running game going a little bit that they would take some shots, and they did. And really they took a shot the second play of the game. They had Jamison Williams open. It was probably Bryce's worst throw of the day. He underthrew it. But he hit the next one, which was a 94-yarder, which is one of the longest in Alabama history. But I thought overall Bryce was really, really, really good. He had a special effort. And I thought offensively you couldn't nitpick too much. I guess the only thing you could say is, for me, with Alabama, the bad was that they had 3 fumbles, and they lost one of them, nearly lost the second one, but Roydell got it back. But they've got to kind of clean that up. They've got to clean up the penalties in the back end and the secondary, though. One of them was an abomination of a call on Daniel Wright, which shouldn't have. It should have been a no call. But still, that's probably the only things you could nitpick. And then, of course, the ugly being Chris Allen, which is that's something you can't control. Yeah. But you lose a kid for the season.
Yeah, one thing on Roydell is some old Bryant story about somebody who threw an interception, and they go, "How did you catch the guy? He was the fastest guy on the other team." And he goes, "He was running for a touchdown. I was running for my life." And that was kind of like Roydell. If he ever wanted to get back on the field again, he better get that ball back.
Yeah, well, it was reminding me of George Teague. That's what George Teague tells you. The reason he was running so fast to catch Lamar Thomas is it was his fault. He was out of position, and so he was trying to catch Lamar.
Yeah, I thought overall, they looked pretty good out there. So,
Yes, sir.
Okay, see
All
you guys later.
Thanks, Richard.
And then I'll update one more thing before we break here. I know people are going to want to know about Henry To'oTo'o. Well, I'm hearing that he has got a partially torn UCL. It's kind of like a Tommy John thing in baseball, but he's going to brace up and play. It's just a matter of pain, management and tolerance. He will play. Jalen Moody came in and they didn't miss a beat. He got an interception of his own. But To'oTo'o will be in the lineup. We'll see if he plays Saturday. I think he will. And he came back with the brace on, but that's what I've been hearing about To'oTo'o. And we already talked about Allen. Liz Franck injury, significant. It's broken. He's going to have surgery and likely miss the season.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we talked at Orgeron and LSU and that loss to UCLA. What lies ahead for Orgeron? We'll go over the LSU schedule. Plus, we'll continue to get your phone calls on this Tuesday, 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Decatur police now updating us on that situation at Danville and Westmead. They have a standoff situation in the 1600 block of Danville Road. They responded there about 6 this morning to a report of shots fired. They have that area blocked off now. They're asking drivers to avoid that area. And we got a report of an accident at the 314 mile marker northbound I-65. That one may have a lot of blockage. Snelling has packaging and assembly positions in Owens Crossroads. These are first shift opportunities with great benefits. No temp. Company payroll from day one. 256-382-4000. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
Nothing beats a great burger to celebrate Labor Day weekend. And at Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, we couldn't agree more. And if you haven't tried our chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness, then head on down and try one of Bad Daddy's award-winning burgers now. Our delicious burgers are made with premium Angus beef, and you can pair it with one of our signature cocktails or a cold craft beer. Celebrate Labor Day weekend and let us do the cooking with a trip to Bad Daddy's Burger Bar on the Parkway between Bob Wallace and Governors.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant Bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right, even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Chad, cue the cheesy Italian music. So you're in charge of the dinner spot, and the family is a hard group to please. Dad wants award-winning 21-day age certified Angus beef. Mom craves authentic Italian food like great-grandma. Sissy pretty much won't eat anything but fresh seafood. And old life of the party, Uncle Walter, likes to enjoy a cigar after dinner with some live local entertainment and some killer cocktails. So you think you're in a pickle? Well, you're not. Relax. I'm Tom Chapman, chef at Nick's Ristorante at 10300 Bailey Cove Road, just south of Weatherly. We have all that and more. Our friendly and helpful staff is eager to help you Tuesday through Saturday, starting at 5. So, corral that crazy crew of yours and give us a call at 256-489-8280 or tell them to check us out at nicksristorante.com. I promise you, the gang will all think you're a culinary cruise director of awesomeness if you take them all to Nick's. See you soon. Ciao. Okay, Chad, kill that music.
Nick's is for patrons 19 or older.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. The electrical panel is the heart of your home's electrical system. Malfunctions can lead to hazards like fire or power outages, leaving your home at risk or in the dark altogether. Fixing it quickly will help keep you and your family safe. So trust our team of electrical experts at Mr. Sparky to get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball, 751 256-576-4977 if you want to get in on the show. With some good, the bad, the ugly from over the weekend. And we talked about LSU dropping that 38-27 game to UCLA to start the season, Drew. But things are going to be okay, I would imagine, for Ed Orgeron over their next 5 games. They get McNeese this next weekend, Central Michigan after that, Mississippi State, Auburn, and Kentucky. Those are the next 5 games for LSU and Ed Orgeron before they take on Florida at home. So you would imagine that by the time they get to Florida, Ed Orgeron and company feasibly could be 5-1, 3-2 at worst. You drop one of those SEC games of the 3, Mississippi State, Auburn, Kentucky, but you would think you could win both or all 3 of those games. Kentucky's on the road, Mississippi State's on the road, Auburn is at home. So you would think between now and October 16th, Ed Orgeron and company could be okay.
I don't know. Who knows at this point? I don't know how they're going to respond. I mean, that was horrible. And, I mean, it just – now I will say Max Johnson put up good numbers, okay? 330 yards passing, I think it was, and 3 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Keyshawn Butte was unbelievable. But you've got to be able to run the ball. You have to have some sort of balance.
Right.
Or you're not going – first of all, your defense is going to be soft, which it was. And, again, you're not going to be able to outscore people, okay? This is not Joe Burrow. This is not Clyde Edwards-Helaire. This is not, the cavalcade, the Jamar Chases when he was actually interested in playing football. I mean, they don't have the same personnel, okay?
Right.
And even defensively, because they had their defense struggled some that year, but they still had some outstanding players. So they just don't have the same kind of football team. And they don't have Dave Aranda to save their rear ends. I mean, they don't have Joe Brady. They don't have the same coaching staff. So I'm just telling you, they're going to be really polarizing the rest of the year to see how they respond from this.
All right. Some of the good would have to be the Auburn Tigers and the way they looked in their opener with Brian Harsin, especially the efficient Bo Nix.
We know that Akron is terrible. Okay,
Yes.
We understand that. But they beat them 60-10. And Bo Nix had the best game of his career from an accuracy standpoint, from being, should have been, basically perfect. Had 1 drop in the middle of the field on a 3rd down. So he was really, really good. And then Tank Bigsby was Tank Bigsby. Over 100 yards, couple of touchdowns, gets his double-digit touches and gets out the game. They're going to do the same thing to Alabama State. we're going to know when the rubber hits the road when they go to Penn State, because we know Penn State has a good defense. Penn State won a slugfest against Wisconsin. So that's going to be a fascinating game in Week 3 because I think both teams will be undefeated, and I think they'll be 2-0, and we'll see how good the Auburn Tigers are. But it was a really good start for Auburn. T.D. Moultrie had a great game, so I think coming off the edge, and maybe he'll have that kind of senior year. Maybe he'll actually make a play, unlike Big Cat Bryant, who never made a play in his career. So before going to be with Gus. But, I mean, we'll see. I just think right now for a first game, I thought Auburn played exceptionally well. Zacoby McClain had a great game at linebacker. Always kind of been an underrated guy. And then the new guys, Tony Fair from UAB, Marcus Harris from Kansas, they all started. They all did a nice job against an overmatched opponent, and they're going to do the same thing at 11 a.m. this coming Saturday inside Jordan-Hare Stadium.
I will say this, Ed Orgeron just a few minutes ago telling Off the Bench that he doesn't need to read the newspaper or Twitter machine, but he understands fans are probably very unhappy with him. That's okay. It's his job to get things fixed.
Well, what they need to do, if I were UCLA, they've already made the Sissy Blue Jordan shirt. I would make a purple and gold Jordan shirt and put SOFT on it. That's what I would do. You would sell a lot of them.
A lot. It's coming up here. I tell you what, let's do this now because we got a couple things coming up in the next hour. We need to name our Bryant Bank Team of the Week.
Yes, we do.
For this past week. So let's go ahead and do that.
Each week, they lace it up. Each week, we'll present our Team of the Week.
Get it in here! I got one thing to say!
So it's time for the Bryant Bank Team of the Week presentation.
Well, we sifted through all the results on Friday, and there were plenty, and I mean plenty of teams that we could etch in there for our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. But we have to go with a squad that won a rivalry game. Sorry, James Clemens got Bob Jones. That was the big rivalry in the weekend.
Overtime.
So James Clemens already a Team of the Week, so cross them off. They can't win twice. That means we're going into the Rocket City. The 50th edition of the Huntsville-Grissom rivalry goes the way of Huntsville. So congratulations, Huntsville.
Huntsville High, 13-6 winners. Their first win of the year over Grissom. It certainly was a slobber knocker of a game. Both defenses playing very well. Both offenses, I guess, as John McKay would say, they'd be in favor of the execution. It was a little bit rough.
No, we haven't even got to Brian Kelly throwing that out there.
Oh, Lord. But anyway, but Huntsville High got it done on defense. I mean, they could have easily shut Grissom out. Grissom made an unbelievable play. Jaquil Clark on that on that tip ball, getting it into the end zone, making the game close. Grissom had a shot late in this ball game to tie it and potentially even win it. Wasn't able to get it done, but Huntsville High getting it done on defense. They were really good in the back end. The young sophomore Husky had a big interception, as did Jalen Chambers. So Huntsville High 13-6, and they are our Bryant Bank Team of the Week, and we're going to have a presentation to Coach Mark Fleetwood and his team later this week.
That's hour number 1 in the books. We have got a ton. We got a ton in that hour. We still got a lot to get to in hour number 2. Aaron Suttles will join us. Nathan King will join us in hour number 2. Plus, we got to talk about, Brian Kelly and executions. We'll talk all that and more in hour number 2.
Labor Day savings inside the Home Depot means something different once you're back out there doing. For example, in here, it's a wide selection of top-rated appliances, but out there, it's your home running like a well-oiled machine. Order in-store, online, or in the Home Depot app and get free delivery and flexible installation, so you save money and time. Right now, you can save big on a new Samsung kitchen package at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Valid through September 15th, 2021. U.S. only while supplies last. See store for details.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Decatur PD's working a standoff situation around Danville and Westmead. That started as a shots fired call. I don't have any further information on that at this point. Had water across the road in Limestone County on Hayes Mill, maybe some southbound problems. And we got a wreck at the 314 I-65 northbound. That one may have a lot of blockage. You get 3 pieces of the crispy tender chicken and a buttermilk biscuit for only $4.99 at Popeyes. University and George, 72 and Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Tuesday, expect mostly sunshine. High temperatures will be topping out in the upper 80s for the afternoon. Some of us could see a few isolated showers move through as well. For your Tuesday night, expect patchy fog to develop, a partly cloudy sky. Low temperatures will fall into the upper 60s. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
College football national championship odds after week 1. Alabama the heavy favorite plus 225. Georgia at plus 400. Ohio State at plus 550. Oklahoma plus 750. Clemson, after their week 1 loss to Georgia, fell from plus 350 to plus 800. Baseball, the Braves hosting the Nationals tonight. Atlanta minus 225 on the money line. Washington plus 205. The over-under 9. The NFL kicking off Thursday night. The defending champion Bucks and Tom Brady at home against the Dallas Cowboys. The Bucks an 8-point home favorite. The over-under 51.5. The Falcons at home Sunday afternoon against the Eagles. Atlanta a 3.5-point favorite at home. The over-under 48.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
It is hour 2 of Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Coming up later today at 1 o'clock. That is when we get the newest AP Top 25. If you are anticipating that or were anticipating that this morning, remember Louisville and Ole Miss played last night, so they have to wait an extra day to get the AP poll out. We assume when the AP poll comes out today that Alabama will remain number 1, and it's hard not to put them there after that convincing win over 14th-ranked Miami to open the season in the Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic. It's hard not to put them back at number 1.
Yeah, I mean, they have to be. I mean, they were extremely impressive. We understand what Georgia did to Clemson, but with what Alabama did coming off of the personnel losses offensively and what they did to that Miami team, and really the score being 44-13 didn't really indicate how bad it really was. I mean,
right.
The Canes were very fortunate to get the touchdown that they did. Certainly Alabama had a goal line stand at the start of the third quarter. It was, as Coach Saban just took the air out of the ball like he usually does. They could have scored 50 points in this game. It was a completely dominant performance in all 3 phases. When you think about what you saw Will Reichert do, burn up with a couple of punts, and then what you saw defensively out of this group. And who better than to break it down and give us his observations? He's back with us now. As you remember, a few years ago, he was a weekly guest on our show. is just an outstanding writer and an outstanding source when it comes to opinions and the pulse of Alabama football. And you can, of course, read all of his work on The Athletic, and that is Aaron Suttles, and he's been good enough to join us this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Aaron, welcome back to Huntsville. You're with Drew and Scott. Good morning, and I hope you enjoyed your weekend of football, sir.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me back.
Yes, absolutely. You've been fortunate to cover Nick Saban throughout his entire career in Tuscaloosa. I thought it was as good a first-game performance as we've seen in all three phases. I'll let you have the stage now and give your thoughts.
It really was. I guess if I had to pick one game that it sort of reminded me of, maybe the season opener versus Michigan back in 2012. They looked pretty dominant, and that was against the DeArmond Robinson, mobile dual-threat quarterback, too, and they sort of bottled him up. So it just, a long time ago, guys, I stopped underestimating Alabama regardless of what they lost the year before. I mean, that's just traditional thinking. When a team loses a lot, you sort of reflect that in what you think of what they're going to be the next year. And, any other team, if they'd have lost 6 NFL first-rounders, they'd lost the majority of their offensive production, they'd lost 4 coaches on the offensive side of the ball, they wouldn't have started at number 1. But with Alabama, they've earned that right because Nick Saban does it year in and year out, regardless of what they lose. And, man, they just really, really looked impressive.
Yeah, I mean, everybody is surprised how well Alabama played, but you start looking at the early season results of Alabama since Nick Saban has arrived. It seems like in these openers, and you look around college football, Alabama tends to look the most prepared in week 1 of pretty much any team over the past few years in college football.
They do, and it's not by accident. It's the process. They're disciplined. I mean, it's the discipline to sit down what could be a first-round NFL tight end. I mean, it's the discipline to say, hey, you're our best tight end, but if you're not going to do things the way that we need you to do them, then you're not going to play. And, hey, oh, by the way, your backup, he's going to go out and catch 2 touchdown passes. It's all about discipline and doing what you're supposed to do, and that's why they play so well. That's why, and it wasn't even perfect, guys. I mean, they had a kickoff out of bounds. They had 8 penalties. They had turnovers. So it wasn't a perfect performance, but even with all of that, as Drew said, this game wasn't close, and Alabama just looked like a team that was in mid-season form.
And, Aaron, I thought Bryce Young, I had high expectations going into the game. If someone asked me for the stat line, I said 290 and 3 touchdowns. He was even better than that. I thought he was as good as I've seen an Alabama quarterback in his first start, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
He was better than I thought he'd be. Not that I thought he would be bad. I didn't think he would be bad. I just thought he would look a little more like a first-time starter, and he was just so smooth. I mean, listen, Miami's front isn't great, but they did commit to bringing extra men at times and pressuring him, and he moved around the pocket. He moved up in the pocket. He moved around in the pocket, and when he did that, he kept his eyes up, and that's when he hit John Mechie on that first touchdown pass. I mean, he wasn't looking to move around the pocket to scramble. I mean, he was doing it to make plays. I mean, so when they would heat him up and bring pressure, he was just even on the first touchdown throw to Cameron Latu. I mean, Miami brought a lot of pressure, and he knew where to go with the ball. And so I was impressed with his preparation. Getting the offense into the right plays. Checking with the sideline. He just didn't. It didn't appear like the moment was too big for him. He didn't look rattled. He didn't look razzled. He didn't look pressured. I mean, he just looked cool and calm, like it was Mac Jones back there who'd started, 15, 16 games. He was prepared and as impressive as he could have looked in week 1.
We talked a lot about the offensive line during the offseason. What would it look like? How well would they play? Would it be a big weakness spot for Alabama? And I think, I don't want to say every one of those questions were answered Saturday, but we got a good understanding of what this offensive line can be.
Yeah, I thought, from the fall that they had, the camp they had when they had just had so much in motion and experimenting with different guys, I thought they were pretty good. A little surprised to see Chris Owens out at right tackle, but really shouldn't be because he's played there before and he's sort of a Swiss utility Army knife, a guy that can play all over the place. I think he would probably be the first to tell you he needs to work on his pass protection a little bit. I think Javian Cohen needs a little work. But overall, for a unit that was working together for the first time against the Power 5 program, they played pretty well. I mean, the running game was fairly consistent and pretty good, and pass protection, even when Bryce did get pressured a little bit, he fortunately got a dual-threat quarterback who can move around. So, for a first start, I thought they did pretty well.
Well, and Aaron, we were talking about this in the first hour with Darian Dalcourt being named Player of the Week, and then Saban's glowing comments, and then, as you said, Owens being experienced at right tackle. We saw Kendall Randolph well enough. He was healthy enough to place a lot of snaps at blocking tight end. I've got to believe they're going to go with that lineup Saturday, and then to get ready for the Swamp, which should be a hostile environment in the SEC opener.
Yeah, you would think so, Drew. I mean, listen, it's all about getting guys in that position, getting them to play together, and being able to have the communication with each other of knowing how to pick things up on twists and stunts and knowing where an extra man may be coming from. And to do that, you need as many starts with that same 5 as possible. And I thought they played well enough that it wasn't an issue. It wasn't an issue that you have to go out and fix this week. Now, certainly they want to fine-tune, but it's not as if they are searching for answers right now.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about that. And then speaking of searching for answers, they seem to have found a couple out of the transfer portal. Pretty good debut for Jamison Williams, and I thought Henry To'oTo'o, he did suffer the elbow injury, which it looks like he's going to be able to brace up and play with it. But both of those guys looked, I thought, outstanding Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, and someone was talking to me about, Alabama and the transfers. When Alabama goes out and get a transfer, they are looking for starters.
Right.
And Nick Saban told college football that, listen, when we go hit the transfer market, a lot of people want to come here. We're going to have sort of our pick. If we have a position of need, we're going to be able to go out and get that, and they did. And, I'm curious to see how Henry's going to hold up through the pain of that elbow injury with that brace. Hopefully it doesn't become an issue because he solved a lot of problems. You didn't have guys running free like we saw last year with defensive breakdowns or miscommunication. And I thought he was a major part of that in calling the defense. That even when Miami hit plays, they were generally covered. I mean, De'Aaron King threw a couple of passes, one on 4th down in the first half, and then the touchdown pass. They were just great passes when Alabama players were in position. It wasn't like Ole Miss last year where guys were running across the middle of the field wide open at times. So I think he really helped in that regard. And then Jamison Williams, if Bryce throws that over his left shoulder in the first drive, that's a touchdown, maybe. So his speed opens things up for everybody else, and it strikes fear in a defense in that you can't bring an extra guy down. You got to have somebody over the top because number one's going to get past you, and it's going to be a touchdown. So what do you expect? Nick Saban when he goes out to the transfer market, he's going to get who he wants, and it's going to be good for Alabama.
Well, you mentioned that by far this was not a finished product that Alabama put on the field Saturday. And so after it's all said and done, and now they work on Mercer, because they've got now a couple weeks to fine-tune some things, get some things worked out. Where do you think they're going to be working those things out at?
I think this week, you probably want to run the ball a little more consistently. They ran the ball okay, but they weren't able to, even when they left the first-team offensive line in to try to take the air out of the ball, they weren't able to do that. And part of that is because Miami knows you're not throwing the ball, so I get that. But there are times when you're going to want to run the football and the other team knows you want to run the football, that you have to run the football. So I think they want to work on that a little bit. I think, maybe in the secondary a little bit, work on some things. But overall, we're really nitpicking here.
Yeah.
And that's what Alabama fans are. They've just been so spoiled that they take this sort of for granted that you just don't come out and do this every year. And look around the college football opening weekend. Oklahoma has to just survive by the skin of its teeth. Ohio State defense looks vulnerable, looks really, really vulnerable. Georgia and Clemson, their offenses don't look great, although you got to take your hat off to both of those defenses because that was top-notch defense. But you look around at the contenders, quote-unquote, and there are glaring issues for those teams. Alabama, they don't have glaring issues. They have things, I said, they want to fine-tune, but right now there are no glaring issues. And part of it, I mean, Miami is not Clemson or Georgia. I get that, but they are a top 15 Power 5 team, and Alabama made them look like an FCS opponent.
Yeah, and Aaron, I've got to get your thoughts, of course, on the loss of Chris Allen. But before we do that, I've got to ask you about LSU. They've been a big topic this morning. The
and he
Sissy Blue
laughs.
shirt. Yeah, I mean, it was awful. Okay, I thought they humiliated the conference. Now, Chip Kelly may have finally turned the corner at UCLA. Well, they better hope so anyway if you're LSU. But this was really bad for Coach O.
You know, I like Coach O. I think he's a color for character. I think anytime you have that around college football, it's good for the game because it brings attention to the game. But his comment about Sissy Blue was a little embarrassing, especially when you go out there and you do what you did. And listen, the more and more we get removed from 2019, the more it looks like they caught lightning in a bottle. A once-in-a-generation quarterback who could pretty much solve whatever you were going through. A coordinator on that side of the ball who was really good, and they just had that year, and it feels a lot. And I know people have made this, but it does feel a lot like 2010 Auburn, where they had Cam and they had Fairley on the other side of the ball, and so they played a lot of close games and they won those games. And LSU in 2019 pretty much dispatched the whole schedule except for Alabama, which played them really toughly. But you know, it's discipline. We talked about Alabama. Why do they play the same way coming out every year? It's discipline. LSU does not look like a disciplined football team. LSU should not be letting a wide receiver break 3 tackles to run for a touchdown. That just shouldn't happen. You're LSU. You're known as you tout yourself as DBU, right? You got maybe the best defensive back in the country this year on your squad, and you're soft on defense. I'm sorry to say it, but when UCLA is breaking a lot of tackles on you, you're soft.
Yeah, and you mentioned offensive coordinator. Auburn had Gus Malzahn as their offensive coordinator, and after that, everybody was trying to recapture that offensive feeling that Auburn provided that year, or even bringing Gus in. LSU trying to recapture that offensive feeling from a couple years ago, bringing everybody back in that has ties to that system.
Yeah, and you know they gave Orgeron the job because he was going to be a CEO head coach. It's kind of like Dabo, right? I'm going to be CEO. I'm going to be the figurehead, and I'm going to bring in excellent coordinators, and I'm going to recruit. And it's worked for Dabo, and to some extent it's worked for Edo. But think about some of the hires he's made. I mean, he nailed the Joe Brady hire. No one's going to begrudge him that. But Bo Pelini last year was a disaster. And you can make an argument that LSU misses Dave Aranda more than they do Joe Brady. Because that defense, I mean, LSU used to strike fear in your heart on defense. They don't anymore. They are not the same LSU defensive team, and they're not even in the same stratosphere right now. And I think they got issues there. I think Ed O's got issues there. And the whole CEO head coach isn't working because he's not made good hires. He's not attracted great candidates to make good hires, or at least the guy. I can't say he hasn't attracted good candidates, but I can say the ones that he's hired have by and large not worked out, and that's just where they are right now. And as Drew said, that was an embarrassment for the conference to go out there and to look that soft.
Well, at least he interviewed these candidates.
Oh. Well, and Aaron, I've got to go back and circle back as we spend the last couple of minutes with you. We know how good a football player Chris Allen had become. He'd overcome a knee injury. He had a really good year last year and made one of the game-changing plays on Saturday. Unfortunately, it's his last play of the season, likely, with his Liz Frank injury. I really hate it for the kid because he had become a guy that was going to be drafted and one of those top 3-round guys. But where does Alabama go from here, and what did you see after Chris Allen went out?
Yeah, it's a brutal injury. There's just no way around it. Listen, Nick Saban has said since Saturday night that, listen, they really rotated 3 guys in there, and they can kind of already considered Drew Sanders a starter. And there are things that Drew Sanders brings that Christopher Allen does not bring. I think Drew Sanders is longer. If you look at his wingspan, he's very athletic. I think he's probably a little better in pass coverage than Christopher Allen. But Christopher Allen was really a pass rush nightmare for opposing teams. And what he was going to do with Will Anderson this year would have just created havoc for opposing offenses. And Drew Sanders is a good player, but he's not that yet. He might get to there, but he's not there yet. So the fact that after not even one half of football, you lose. I mean, they were poised to be, Will Anderson and Christopher Brown, they were poised to be the best outside pass rush edge rushers Alabama's had since 2016 when you had Tim Williams and Ryan Anderson. And so losing that hurts, and there's no way around it. And it might show up some point in the season where you're going to need that pass rush, maybe against Ole Miss, which looked outstanding last night on offense again. So you're going to need that pass rush, and you're going to need Drew Sanders to get up to speed in some regard to help Will Anderson there.
Mm-hmm. No question about it. That's probably the one ugly moment of the game, losing a guy like Chris Allen for Alabama, who was going to be an all-SEC level player, and as Aaron said, an outstanding compliment to Will Anderson. And your guy, you wrote that outstanding article we've already talked about on the show, but the first chapter for Will as a sophomore was domination.
I've had multiple scouts text me. I've had other people tell me Will Anderson was the best football player on the field. And that's saying a lot because Alabama's got a lot of talent. Now, you can nitpick and say right now the highest draftable guy is probably Evan Neal. You got that kind of athleticism at his size at left tackle. And you can really split hairs and argue there. But Will Anderson is a phenomenal football player, and he's so quick. That article came out late last week from ESPN that it's the first 5 yards of when he comes off is faster than Jalen Waddle. Are you kidding me? The outside linebacker in the first 5 yards is faster than Jalen Waddle. So, I mean, and that's 5 yards, 5 to 10 yards is what that burst is what you need from an outside pass rusher. And, I mean, even when he didn't, quote unquote, he doesn't show up in the stat sheet, even when he doesn't make a play, he's moving the quarterback. And so they're off schedule already. As soon as the ball is snapped, you're almost off schedule because you've already had to move your quarterback because the guy on the outside is just the tackles can't keep up with him.
That's right. He was unbelievable. Well, Aaron Suttles does a great job for The Athletic. Aaron, let everybody know what you got coming up. We know you're going to have full coverage for this home opener for Alabama, but you also do some outstanding articles and always take a unique perspective. Let everybody know what's coming up with The Athletic.
Yeah, I'm excited. I got a story coming out either today or tomorrow at some point about Trey Sanders and just
what a comeback!
Get back to this point. So look, anxious to tell Trey's story because I think we all were really happy when he scored a touchdown, but I don't think we all understand what he physically and mentally had to go through to get to that point.
Can't wait to read that. Thank you, Aaron.
Okay, take care.
Let's get a break in. When we come back, we need to recap the events down on the Plains as the Auburn Tigers got a win over Akron to start the year. We'll talk to Nathan King about the Brian Harsin era, which is officially now underway at the Plains.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got 2 wrecks reported westbound on 565 near Wall Triana. One of those is reported with an injury. Mile marker 314 northbound I-65 coming out of Coleman County. That one may have an injury involved and lots of blockage. And we've still got Danville and Westmead blocked off in Decatur. They've got a standoff situation going on there. The Somnodent from Dr. Sandman's an easy-to-use oral device. No mask, no hose, and insurance accepted for sleep apnea and for snoring. RandallSandlin.com or 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Hey friends, Eli Gold here for Environmental Comfort Systems. If you're concerned about the air quality inside your home, give my friend Rick Smith a call at Environmental Comfort Systems. Their indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of indoor air contaminants. Give the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and see how comfortable you can be. Breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
In 2 years, you can have a career that makes sense for you. Skill up and earn a living working with your hands, or work on the front line of computer information systems and cybersecurity. Get a degree that lets your healing heart take care of people. Help design and manufacture the most advanced cars, machinery, or even aerospace components. In just 2 years, great careers are within your reach at Drake State Community and Technical College. Visit drakestate.edu to apply.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Maybe the air doesn't blow like it should, or it's needing new tires, or you're just ready for something newer. It's time to move up, time to trade up. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your current car or truck is worth more than you know. In fact, we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't trade. We have nearly 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. It's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your vehicle is worth more right now at Woody Anderson Ford. Corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
Everybody knows the fun begins when you get to the End Zone, where you can enjoy half-price apps every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, half-price burgers every Tuesday, plus late-night pizza specials and a spectacular menu that includes jumbo wings, half-pound burgers, Tex-Mex, and an incredible selection of craft beer, and plenty of big-screen TVs. It's all happening at the End Zone, 1851 University Drive, 2030 Cecil Ashburn at Jones Valley Station, and coming in early 2022, Mid-City End Zone at 1115 McMurtry next to the Target Shopping Center.
From the WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Tuesday, expect mostly sunshine. High temperatures will be topping out in the upper 80s for the afternoon. Some of us could see a few isolated showers move through as well. For your Tuesday night, expect patchy fog to develop, a partly cloudy sky. Low temperatures will fall into the upper 60s. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
All right, 8:28 on a Tuesday morning. Welcome back into Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Feel free to give us a call, 256-576-4977. We have just a minute or two to get to your phone calls, as hopefully we will hear from Nathan King as we break down the Auburn Tigers and their win over Akron to get the Brian Harsin era officially underway down there on the Plains. Auburn this week should definitely get better when you are taking on Alabama State out of the SWAC. It's no slight to the SWAC, but you are definitely not going to lose this game this weekend, will Auburn, against Alabama State. So you have a weekend to get better, a weekend to get polished, because in 2 weeks they travel to Penn State. Penn State went on the road this past weekend, looked much better than they did last year at any point in a season that Brandon Marcello thought the Lions could win the national championship last year. Penn State gets that win over Wisconsin. So in 2 weeks, as you mentioned earlier, Penn State, Auburn, both should be undefeated. Auburn makes that trip to Happy Valley. And really for Auburn, it's about taking those steps to continue to understand this offense, understand a Derek Mason defense, which, by the way, looks great, albeit against Akron, one of the worst teams in college football. But we say that, but other teams this past weekend didn't look so good against teams that were not so good.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Auburn was impressive. I mean, when you're talking about debuting with a head coach, they did what they were supposed to do. And again, they could have beaten Akron, 35-3, but they did it 60-10. So that's ultra impressive against anyone. Anytime you score 60 points, and again, Akron, the only concern is they did, complete some passes against that Auburn secondary, certainly. And Jalen Simpson, one of their corners, did get injured in the game. So that's a little bit of a concern. He got a little banged up. Hopefully he'll be back either for Alabama State or when they go to Happy Valley. But Tank Bigsby was Tank Bigsby. I mean, 13 carries, 119, 9.2 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. And then the freshman from Mississippi, Philadelphia to be exact, Jarquez Hunter, he goes over 100 in his debut. He was a late signee for them under the new coaching staff, one of the first commitments really under Brian Harson's staff. So that's outstanding. Sean Shivers only got 2 touches, but he did score a touchdown on one of them. So that was a very good to see for Auburn. And so really, I mean, you just got to just laud the Tigers for the way they performed and on both sides of the ball. And, I mean, Anders Carlson missed an extra point. That was a little bit, alarming. I mean, things happen. I mean, I was a little bit surprised by that, but he's an outstanding kicker. And so Auburn dominated in all 3 phases, and I think they're going to continue to dominate this coming Saturday. We're not going to know really how good Coach Harson's first Auburn team is until they go to Penn State.
All right, we have a Twitter poll question up on our Twitter page this morning at 977ESPN, and it does ask you this. Besides Alabama and Auburn, take those 2 out. Which SEC team impressed you the most in week 1? We put 4 teams in there. Kentucky, Georgia, Ole Miss, which got a win last night against Louisville in the Chick-fil-A Classic Part 2, or Tennessee. The 4 choices there, Kentucky, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. Of those 4, Drew, which one impressed you the most in the opening week of SEC play?
I'd have to say Georgia. Anytime you beat a top 5 team in Clemson and you hold them out of the end zone, and what we saw DJ Uiagalelei do last year, I got to give Georgia a lot of credit. I've been critical of them, but they didn't have all their weapons offensively, and they still weren't impressive on offense. But they certainly got the job done defensively. I mean, they sacked DJU 7 times. They harassed him. They stopped the run. Clemson could not run the ball at all. They were one-dimensional. And then DJU made some nice throws, but still struggled through much of the contest. So I got to give credit to Georgia anytime you hold a team like Clemson out of the end zone.
Are you concerned with the Georgia offense as far as the wide receiver position goes? I mean, it looked like it was a sore spot for them. I know Clemson's defense is really good, and while Clemson's offense struggled, Clemson's defense was anything but struggling against Georgia. Is that wide receiver position a concern for Georgia?
I would say so. I mean, anytime you without Blaylock, who's had a ton of injury problems, you certainly are without, George Pickens for the majority of this season. I think that they've got some guys that can play, but I'm not sure they've got the explosiveness that they need. And certainly they were without, some tight ends, including Darnell Washington in the game, who was on the sidelines, and they're going to get people back. But I would be a little bit concerned if I were Georgia with the wide receiver group. I think Daniels was efficient. He did throw one bad interception, but he did, complete a very extremely high percentage of his passes. But there was no explosive plays, and that's what I would be concerned about if I were a Georgia fan, because I understand that you have an elite defense, and we all thought you would. But if you're going to win a championship, either an SEC and then a national, you're going to have to score some points. So I would be a little concerned if I were a Georgia fan.
All right, so Lane Kiffin was not at the game last night, Ole Miss game, because he did test positive for COVID. He was back in Oxford watching his team from the complex. However, for any regular season victory over a Power 5 non-conference team, Lane Kiffin earns a $100,000 bonus. Lane Kiffin still gets his $100,000 bonus for beating Louisville last night. So just in case you were wondering, Lane Kiffin, $100,000, a little richer after his team beat
No wonder he
Louisville.
was so giddy on the Zoom call.
Wouldn't you be?
Talked about how maybe you should get COVID all the time.
They had Warren Sapp there last night representing the Rebels on the sidelines.
Okay.
Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. Lane Kiffin put a tweet out a few minutes ago
I guess
saying
he stayed in town after his Canes got mutilated by Alabama.
Oh, yes. Other than that, okay, we've dissected how decent the Pac-12 looked. The Big 12 as a whole, okay. The ACC, not so good. The Big 10, okay. The SEC was good with the exception of Vanderbilt and LSU. Really, I mean, that is your state of college football after week one. And you look as good as the matchups were in week one. Week two, we kind of slipped back into some these traditional real great matchups, Drew. But you look in the SEC, Texas and Arkansas will play this week, 6 o'clock on ESPN. Texas, which we thought maybe Billy Napier had a chance to come in there, maybe play spoiler to Steve Sarkisian's opener as Longhorns head coach. Texas took care of business on Saturday.
They did. They were decently impressive. I mean, Bijan Robinson had over 100 yards. Keelan Robinson, the transfer from Alabama, had averaged 5 yards a carry. I think he got 8 carries for 41. They were able to be balanced offensively, which is something Sark likes to do, and Sark's very patient with the running game. But they win 38-18. Now I did check Ben Davis. I didn't see him record a stat. I'm not sure how much playing time he got as he is transferred to Texas. We're certainly rooting for him. But, yeah, the Longhorns, they got it done in pretty efficient fashion against I still think it's a good Louisiana team. But certainly Texas gets it done in DK Royal Stadium. And now they travel to Fayetteville to take on the Hogs. And Arkansas got off to a rough start. I mean, they were down 17-7 to Rice. And I was, looking at Trey Biddy's, YouTube, and Trey does a great job with Hog Sports. Has been with us many times, and we'll try to feature him this week with this matchup coming up. But he said under the previous administration, that's an L. He felt like now there's a lot of buy-in with Sam Pittman.
Right.
They stepped up defensively, made some plays. KJ Jefferson finally got it going, but they were able to subdue Rice 38-17. So we will see going forward. But this is a huge game, and I think it's already sold out, been announced, that this Texas-Arkansas game is going to be a raucous environment.
All right, so I'm looking over the schedule for Week 2 matchups. Obviously, we do have our first conference game of the year, Missouri and Kentucky, 6:30 on the SEC Network. That should be a good one. Jacksonville State will walk into a hornet's nest. If Florida State plays the way they played this past week against Notre Dame, that's going to be a handful for John Gross and company. Jacksonville State will travel to Florida State, 7 o'clock on the ACC Network. Vanderbilt will travel to Colorado State. So the Commodores had their best chance to get a win in Week 1, and they blew it against East Tennessee State. So that is some of the matchups. UAB and Georgia. Kirby Smart will welcome UAB and Georgia after that Clemson game. You don't want to let down against Clemson. As good as you played against Clemson, you don't want to let it down this week against UAB.
No, you don't. You want to continue to take care of business, and Vanderbilt's going to go to Colorado State and get slaughtered. So I don't see them winning that game on the road. Sorry. And then the Battle of the Academians that both laid turds Saturday. Maybe they'll have a shot to beat Stanford. I don't know. Stanford was awful. Awful.
Well, that's because they're more worried about kicking off at 11 a.m. or playing on whatever.
I mean, my goodness, they lose 24-7 to K-State. Where are you? That's pitiful.
Speaking of the Sunflower State, how about the Kansas Jayhawks, who celebrated a win over an FCS team by storming the field?
Well, they're not used to winning. Lance Leopold, a great job in your first game. Still trying to clean up the mess left by the hat.
Brett McMurphy releasing his AP poll ballot, which, by the way, comes out at 1 o'clock today. The new AP poll does. He still has Bama number 1, followed by Georgia, Ohio State 3. He puts Texas A&M at number 4, Oklahoma, Clemson at number 6, Penn State number 7, Iowa 8. He puts UCLA at number 9 in the country. Is that giving UCLA too much attention after that win against LSU? Well,
they've got to be ranked. I don't know about top 10. I think maybe that is an overreaction, but certainly they have to be in the poll. You'd have to have them in the top 20 somewhere, I guess.
He does put Notre Dame at number 10, Iowa State 11, Texas 12, Cincinnati 13, Virginia Tech 14, Oregon 15. Anyway, I did think of something over the weekend. Should we just do away with preseason polls until about week 3 or week 4 of this season? Because we label all of these teams in this week 1. We're looking at them and we're like, oh, so-and-so was ranked whatever, kind of like LSU. They go out to UCLA, they lose, they're awful. Well, they shouldn't have been there. They shouldn't have been ranked that high. Should we just do away with preseason polls, do away with college football polls until about week 3 of the season?
Probably so. I mean, it wouldn't bother me at all. I mean, but it helps sell magazines. It helps sell, websites. It helps create conversation for what we do. So that's probably why they're never going to stop ranking teams in the preseason. But I will say this. We've had our first quote-unquote firing, retirement, whatever.
Randy Edsall.
Randy Edsall at UConn. They do play Vandy. So there may be hope.
Well, did you see the video that's circulating with that? Randy Edsall tried firing up his team on the sidelines, and you know how when teams huddle, they break, they all put their hands in together, and they say something. The team basically just walked away from him. He put his hand up, said something, and let them get back there. The team just kind of turned their back on him and just kind of was like, eh.
It was like Bud Kilmer in Varsity Blues.
Yeah, he lost control of that team. He's the one last year. Remember, UConn did not play at all last year because he feared for the players' safety.
Yeah,
took away the whole year of UConn football.
He took his players' season away, and I don't think they reacted to it very well, and they've looked terrible their first 2 games. And he was already going to quote unquote retire at the end of this season, so he just decided to hang it up, and probably should have, because his message wasn't getting through to his players, that's for sure.
No, he lost control of that team. All right, we've not lost control of the show. In fact, we're well in control of the show. We're going to steer the ship home in the last 15 minutes after we take this break because we've got tomorrow's headlines today.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Still got that standoff situation in Decatur. They have Danville and Westmead blocked off. They're working to resolve that. Westbound 565 at Wall Triana, 2 different wrecks trying to clear. And we had 1 mile marker 314 northbound I-65 coming out of Coleman County. That one should be about ready to clear. Are you over 35 and overweight? Chances are your hormones are keeping you from losing weight. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575.
Sitting here with Mark Kent of Southern Fidelity Mortgage Group of Huntsville. Mark, do you help pre-qualify people?
We pre-qualify people all the time, Wes. As a matter of fact, I love having them coming in here because when they come in and they pre-qualify, they can leave my office knowing exactly how much they can buy and have no worries.
Mark, tell me about your rates and pricing.
Well, Wes, this is something we're really, really proud of. Long story short is, I love being able to provide the best pricing in town. Honestly, I cannot tell you the last time I lost a deal to either rate or pricing, something I'm very proud of.
So what all financing options do you have, Mark?
We do several different things. If you're purchasing a home, we can handle the purchase. If you're wanting to refinance your home, of course, rates are at the lowest they've been in the last 3 years. We do a lot of refinancing. If you're building a home, we can handle the entire process from breaking ground to the final close.
Do you sleep with your phone?
Wes, if you want to reach me, you can call me at my office phone, which is 256-562-1000. But always remember, I sleep with my cell phone at night. That number is 256-656-5936.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford, at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
The Labor Day savings inside the Home Depot means something different once you're back out there doing. For example, in here, it's a wide selection of top-rated appliances, but out there, it's your home running like a well-oiled machine. Order in-store, online, or in the Home Depot app and get free delivery and flexible installation, so you save money and time. Right now, you can save big on a new Samsung kitchen package at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Valid through September 15th, 2021. U.S. only while supplies last. See store for details.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that His mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, "If you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself."
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
As we mentioned, the newest AP poll will come out at 1 o'clock today simply because Ole Miss and Louisville played last night. So they got to give it an extra day. Normally, we would be talking about the newest AP poll on Tuesday, but you have to wait till tomorrow to get – you got to wait till a little bit later to get that. And we did name Huntsville High our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. Those are our two big headlines from this morning. Jordy in here this morning now with us to do our Tuesday's headlines.
So, not surprisingly, the betting odds have shifted now that people have seen Bryce Young and the Alabama Crimson Tide roll all over the rap artist formerly known as the Miami Hurricanes. Excuse me. So BetOnline, they open up at plus 350, and they are now at plus 225. So it's a pretty major change, which is understandable considering everybody expected with all the turnover for Alabama to struggle, and Bryce Young and the offense comes out and they light everything all up, and it's not going to be all about the defense this year, it looks like.
Right. So, Drew, Alabama obviously going into it, and we talk about it all the time. Okay, it's Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, maybe Notre Dame, Oklahoma.
Oh, no.
Those are preseason. Those are the ones that we were talking about all the time that have the potential to win the national championship, have the potential to get into the playoffs. After week one, it's going to be we're way overreacting. But Alabama, you still pencil them in there. What are the other three teams that potentially you could say could be there after this week one? Alabama's still the favorites, and Jordy telling us Vegas is staying that. What are the other ones, though?
I have to say Georgia, as much as it pains me to say it. They beat Clemson, so I'd give Georgia, in the top four right now. I'd still have to have Ohio State. They beat Minnesota, even though their defense didn't look great.
Right.
I mean, they beat them double digits, and I think Minnesota's a pretty good football team. And, for LSU's sake, you ought to say UCLA, but I'm not ready to do that yet. Sorry. I'm not throwing them all the way into that elite category.
But it's 2 weeks in. I mean, we're sitting here 2 weeks in. UCLA
Clemson's going to have a chance with that clown league to run the table. Now, that's going to maybe hurt their power rating, though. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know. And then Notre Dame, I wasn't super impressed with their defense.
They should have lost, period.
Yeah, I mean, they were very fortunate to escape Tallahassee, even though it looks like Florida State, is much improved. So I think it's a little early yet, I think, to be, kind of trying to hone in. And then Texas A&M's another one that's going to be in the mix because they got off to a little bit of a slow start, but they were very impressive in their first win. So it's a lot of SEC flavor there, but I still think it should be because I think, I still think that's the best league. And Oklahoma certainly sure as heck didn't look like a top 5 team.
No.
I mean, they looked awful. We'll see if they recover and get better. But certainly they did not play great in their first game, against Tulane, a good program. Let's understand that this is not Vandy. But they're still not very good. I mean, they're still probably a bowl team out of conference.
They're a 5-6 win team, 7 win if they get some things going their way.
But it's not like a championship contender there.
All right.
But I want to say one more thing before Jordy comes in, because we haven't talked about it. Just really quickly, in his first game as head coach, the new era of South Alabama football, great win 31-7 over Southern Mississippi. Over there.
Yes. All right, Jordy, second headline.
All right, so when I think of the most dangerous jobs in the world, you might think of something like logging or underwater welding, but pretty soon they're going to have to put Derrick Henry stiff arm dummy up there as well. So Teron Davenport of ESPN, he had tweeted out a video of other players of the Titans lining up and being stiff armed by Derrick Henry. He's just getting some stiff arm practice in. He called it the Titans version of whack-a-mole. So just imagine us coming out there to practice and Coach Vrabel's like, Jordy, Drew, and Scott, you guys got to be Derrick Henry stiff arm dummies for today.
I've seen that video, Drew. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it. They line up players on the ground, and Derrick Henry is using them as stiff arm practice for, I guess, just a little bit of running back practice. Well, it does kind of look like a whack-a-mole game back in the day.
Yeah, whack-a-mole. Never really played it much.
We have not touched on it, and I do want to get your guys' thoughts. Brian Kelly basically ran into a social media buzzsaw after the game against Florida State, where he quoted a John McKay quote, basically saying that they're going to have to execute all of the players because of their lack of execution.
Yeah, he was talking about the John McKay quote I talked about earlier. He'd be in favor of execution, except he said he wanted to execute his whole team, which not wise in this day of people overreacting. And
did they overreact.
Oh, of course they did. Chris Fowler overreacted. Everybody did. I mean, was it smart to say no? But people were completely overreacting. He's not going in there to shoot his whole team. I mean, my goodness, people. It's kind of like what Brian Kelly said. Are you people crazy? I mean, come on. But again, congrats to Kane Womack, new South Alabama coach, on a big win. And no, I don't think that Brian Kelly was going to execute his whole team. Good Lord.
I heard
what are you talking about here?
At first, I did not know it was a John McKay quote. Okay, I heard him say it afterwards.
This
it
was
took
when
me
John
a minute.
Was the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay,
it took me a minute, and I was like, "Did he just really say that?"
Yeah.
And by the time I thought it, I looked on social media, and Brian Kelly was already getting raked over by all over the coals for saying what he said. And then a friend of mine said, "Scott." He texted me and said, that's an old John McKay quote.
Yeah.
And it meant what it meant. And I was like, oh, okay. I went back and, okay, yes, I'm fine. In today's world, it's just one of those things where sometimes you just don't say it because you know the way people are going to react. And people way overreacted, I think, to Brian Kelly saying he was going to execute basically his whole team.
Yeah, there's no question that they overreacted. But we're not overreacting for LSU, okay?
No, we are not overreacting.
That was horrific.
Is there? By the way, though, we got to mention that Michigan does open up the season with a win.
Yeah, they lost Ronnie Bell, though, their best wide receiver to a knee injury. So, you haven't talked about it. The Cy-Hawk Trophy game coming up.
It is.
Game day.
We got to get Josh.
Ames.
We got to get Josh paid on the show because apparently he's rooting for the Cyclones. And he just needs to not do that because, I mean, my Northern Iowa Panthers, near the team that I graduated from, an FCS school, nearly toppled 7th-ranked Iowa State, gave them a heck of a run. But in this matchup, I do bleed the black and gold. And Iowa over Iowa State, please make it happen. Please let it happen because I just can't stand the Cyclones.
Well, we thank Aaron Suttles from The Athletic for joining us. Hopefully we can catch up with Nathan King down the road. Weren't able to talk as much Auburn as we wanted to today, but certainly we appreciate the phone calls from Brandon, Jeff from the Borough, and everyone. Thank you for listening, and congratulations to Huntsville High for being the Bryant Bank Team of the Week.
All right, guys, we're going to be back at it tomorrow morning here in the studio. And we will do it all over again tomorrow morning. You got the Tom Abraham Show with our buddy Chad coming up here in just a little bit. Then you got the drive tonight. And don't forget, download the app, visit the webpage, and subscribe to our YouTube page. Do so today, folks. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Ann Adams. Ann, I understand you have some exciting news.
Yes, Wes, I do. Berkshire Hathaway Home Services was just recognized in the 30th Annual Harris Poll Equitrend as the Real Estate Agency Brand of the Year and the most trusted real estate brand.
That is awesome news, Ann. Great companies in Huntsville, Alabama, winning awards is what we want. Is it a great time to list your home?
Yes, it is. The inventory is low and the market is heating up.
And I understand you're also looking for agents.
I am. We are so busy, Wes, we need agents to keep up with the demand.
Ann Adams and Rise Real Estate has been doing business in North Alabama for the last 35 years. If you want to do business with someone you can trust, she has been writing contracts since